Well, first of all, I want to thank everybody for coming out tonight. We almost had a full room. Almost. And walking around looking at the other rooms, we beat all them all to hell. So we're doing good. So, like I said, I appreciate y'all coming out and making out the trip. Glad the weather was good. There's a lot of good people here tonight. A lot of good people. Some better than others, but there's a lot of good people here. And I had my sister and her husband fly in. Kevin and my sister Cheryl over here in the corner. Kevin was with me when I started doing this 25 years ago. He was right there with me, racing, running the races. It was me, him, Savannah, and Hannah. We had a ball. So, you know, we did it for 10, 12, 13, whatever, I don't know how many years we did it. But, and then I just up and left him. So he's still pretty pissed off at me about that. But I figured since this would be my last banquet, I would like to, you know, I had him come up with my sister. She's always supported me all these years. And just be a part of this because he didn't really, I don't think he really knows how much impact he had on the sport with us. So we travel around everywhere. So I thank you. Thanks for coming out. I appreciate it. First thing we're going to do, we got an agenda list here that I got checked off and okayed by the boss. Thank you, Karen, for doing that. We're going to do the Hall of Fame. The Hall of Fame, it's been around for a while, and it was a dream of mine as a kid to honor the people that put a lot of effort, made tons of sacrifices to make the sport keep going, because it takes people, it takes time, you know, to do this, to run series, to run events. And over the years, these people got forgotten. And I always see, I've seen stuff, you know, where people got notarized for this or recognized for that and stuff like that. I was like, you know, we got to have our own Midwest Hall of Fame. So I started it, and it went really well. The first year, second year, and then unfortunately I had a fire at my shop, and that poor trophy went through the fire with it. And luckily a blanket fell on it and it didn't disappear. So it got burnt pretty bad. But, like I said in my post on Facebook, because of Chris May, Mark brother, Chris took that thing, and when he brought it back to me a couple months later, I couldn't believe what he did with it. That thing was burnt, it was crusty, it was toast. And we rebuilt it, so we're bringing it back. So, but then things happened, and it just sat on the shelf, and the Hall of Fame got kind of lost. And there was still a lot of people that needed to be put in that thing. There's still more that need to be put in that need to be recognized. And so I brought it back, and it's going to be back for 26, but I thought I'd bring it back now and to start it back up again, to get it reintroduced so people know what's going on. And I left this state in 1978, moved to Florida, and I was down there 32 years. I forgot, I didn't watch, I didn't know who was taking over. I just remember the people that were here when I was here, when I was doing it. And that's mostly who the people that are on that trophy. And then talking with our riders, our members and stuff, I kind of found out some history about after I left. Well, who did this and who did that? And I thought, well, God, you know, these people did the same thing these people did that are on that trophy. If you get a chance tonight, walk around that trophy, and there's a lot of history on that trophy. I mean, a lot of history. So I got to talking to Gary Layton, and
there's an adventure.
Yeah, I know.
Sorry.
It's okay, but you're excused.
Okay.
But Gary told me some stuff I had no idea happened. I had absolutely no information I didn't know. And what it was that his dad and his mom stepped in when the Welters stepped out. And the Welters were my era. And they were mixed in with them, and then they eventually took over Maplehurst, and they helped run the races. I don't know all the history of it. I was trying to read up on it and get it all put together.
I saw a butterfly, I probably got sidetracked.
Yeah, but you know, the thing is, I know what it takes to do what they did. And it wasn't easy, and it was a love of the sport. And that's what this whole thing, this Midwest Vintage is all about. It's the love of the sport. So, and this trophy is about that. So I told Gary, I said, it's a done deal. Your mom and dad deserve to be in this. So, they're here tonight, Durwood and Christine, and we want to thank you for all that you did for this sport. Because without you, who knows where it would have gone? Honestly, we don't. But we do know where we are now because of you. So I would like to introduce the 2025 Hall of Fame inductees, Durwood and Christine Layton. You know what? You guys come up here.
Yeah.
It makes it easier, I don't have to walk.
Please don't start off with I apologize, Bumpkin.
So Gary sent me all these photos, and most of them were with him. I thought, okay, that's a little strange.
Oh, honey,
But I took the best ones that I thought were cool, and I want everybody to come up later and look at this plaque that we did for them, because there's history on here, and there's all kinds of just memories and stuff, but you two, we owe you a lot. No, we do, because what you did, a lot of people won't do.
Yep.
So I'm gonna give this to you, and this is for you to keep, and your name is on a plaque on that trophy, and it'll always be on that big trophy right there. So thank you for what you've done.
All right, I don't talk as much as Woody does. And I'm really, I don't like speaking to crowds, but it's a little short story. We started motocross in '81, and if anybody's doing the math, that's 45 years ago. By '83, we're really hooked on the sport, and in that year, we went to 37 races in the state of, mostly in the state of Illinois. We also joined Slowpokes in '83 and met really a great group of people. Some of the people that were there at the time, I don't know if you want to read them off.
Bob and Debbie Welter, Martin and Sue Horn, Bill and Carol Decker, Del Douglas, Carl Lindley, the Ohlers, Carl Dennis, Guy Ohler, and Todd White. That's probably from more of our, when we were in.
I grew up with that.
Oh, yeah. Great,
And then
great.
Todd later on became
Yes.
one of the presidents. So as new club members, you know, newbies to the club, one of the things you're always looking for change, you know, so we're, you know, you come in there and you say, all right, you know, why don't we change these jumps, let's do the whoops different, and you're dealing with people that have done this before us for 20, 30 years, you know, especially Martin Horn, and so it was really hard to get any changes. But one of the things we wanted to do at that time, Astelin and Byron, they were running the track backwards from week to week. And so we thought about, you know, maybe running Maplehurst backwards. But that just, it never happened. One of the other things, four-wheelers were a big thing, and they were just starting back then. And so we tried a couple four-wheeler races. But at the time, we had over 400 riders every week. And there just wasn't enough daylight. We just couldn't get it in. Bob Welter was the referee in '83, and then he asked me if I would take it over in '84. And he was moving his shop from McHenry to Crystal Lake, and he wouldn't have time. So I took it over in the '84 season. And Chris was the secretary. Woo! Chris was going around the track and doing interviews with riders, and I don't know if any of you were there at that time. And then she was getting published in Cycle News and in Loftus News. And the riders were so excited because they'd see their profile done, and Chris was responsible for all of that. And then Chris also was doing programs every month, once a month, all the programs. And along in those programs, we brought some. You'll see that she did rider profiles and different things for all the riders. In 1986, yeah, I was there too. We had an idea. We wanted to do what we call the Triple Crown. And it was the 3 tracks, Ashland, Byron, and Maplehurst. And so it took a lot of doing to get Joe Venser on board, but we finally did. And so it was Mike and Gail from Torque Center, and Dave Anilak from Tough Racing. And we put a program together. We had 18 races between 3 tracks. And then we had fall and the spring and fall series. And then at the end of the 18 races, we had a real nice banquet. Tough Racing had Alan King, a pro rider that was riding for him. And he had a works bike that Tough had built for him. At the banquet, we raffled off away. We actually gave that bike away. And so the way it worked was all the sign-up slips, every sign-up slip that you raced at those tracks, we kept track of them, put them all in a barrel, and at the banquet we had a drawing. And somebody won the bike. Let's see. Did you have anything to say? And then we stayed there until 1989. I was on the board of directors and still involved. But by then we were building a new house, and we just didn't have enough time. And then the boys, Gary continued racing the whole time, but we were kind of getting out of it. You know, a lot of people think that the best time is when you're at the track and racing. And I think one of the best times was we had a small workshop. We had a wood burning stove out there, and we'd go out there on cold Saturdays, and sit around. Gary was able to realize that WD-40 would start a fire, and we'd start a fire and sit around and talk about, some of the races and the races yet to come. And in November, end of November, early December, we'd all get together, 3 boys, Chris and I, and we'd make a ride up to New Berlin and go to Torque Center.
Christmas.
And that was always a highlight. And Gail and Mike and the kids would walk around the store whispering, go to Mike, he'll hand out stickers. And he'd hand out stickers, and Gail would kind of give him a dirty look, And so Mike was really good to work with. I want to thank you so much for the award. I don't know if Chris had anything to say.
just a lot of good memories at Maplehurst, and it was about the riders and just sign up. I loved sign up, and I went home and spent all the time writing the numbers out and sending them. It was all by hand, no computers yet. So every single, all your numbers on your AMA cards, I'd have to write them out and make lists, and it kept me going, and it was fun, and I loved going to the track. I loved meeting the riders. I loved interviewing the riders. We saw some pros, like Son, I think his name was Chuck. Right?
Sure.
Yeah, and Bob Hanna took our youngest, who was just a little critter, like 6 years old, and went horseback riding with them, and that was Rusty. And I really, really enjoyed our time at the track. And if any of you remember me, it was probably like Woody used to call them my little Daisy Dukes, but I've outgrown them. So,
And a two-time.
I want to thank everyone here, and thank you for the honor, and I feel like we really didn't do that much, but we were part of racing. Thank you.
Thank you.